Dan and I left Burning Man on Tuesday morning. We rolled right out with zero traffic. Got to the nearby town of Gerlach, where I called to check up on my bike. They said they still needed a couple days, so we decided to ride 2 up to Northern California, visit some friends from the burn for a while, and camp out in the woods. Dan didn't have a lot of experience carrying a passenger, and I am a terrible passenger, but we still decided we would take the dirt roads from Gerlach up to Northern California. Some of those gravel roads ended up being really rough. There was even some mud, but Dan handled it like a champ. Never dropped me off the bike once. We took our time getting up to Northern California. We stopped to crawl around rocks and explore some caves we found off the side of the road. Stopped at the beautiful Antelope Lake on our way up, and once we got to our friend's house, we all went hiking at Upper Sardine Lake. It was great to have a couple days to unwind up in the forest and away from all the crazy partying of Burning Man. And a couple days later we went back to Reno, picked up my bike, looked beautiful, ran wonderfully. We rode down around Lake Tahoe and then camped at Wild Willie's Hot Springs, which is a free and natural hot springs just off the 395. You get off at the Benton Crossing exit and make a right just after the Flying Cow. The hot springs are wonderful, extremely warm, and you can camp for free in the parking lot. In spite of all the smoke coming up from Yosemite, the stars were amazing that far out. We ended up sleeping in really late and then deciding that we wanted to go to Convict Lake, which was actually 2 miles up the road the wrong direction. We were joking about how long it was taking us to get back to California, but both wanted to go to the lake. We met a really nice guy named John there working at the marina, knew all about Ushuaia and been to Argentina for a while, so we talked about travel and he let us take a boat out on the lake for free. So we roamed around the lake a little, finally got headed in the right direction a little later. We stopped in Bishop and ate some incredible smoked meats. We also picked up an awesome loaf of bread at the famous Schatz Bakery, and then tried to make some more miles. It was really, really hot going down the highway. We decided to make another detour to see the oldest trees in the world, because how can you turn down the oldest trees in the world? That road turned out to be fantastic. It winds and climbs up over 9,000 feet to the bristlecone pine forest. They aren't the largest trees by any standard. They're kind of small, gnarled trees, but they have incredible sunset-colored striped bark, and their roots and limbs curl like nothing I've ever seen before. We ended up hiking around and looking at the trees until sunset. We had hoped to make up some miles in the dark, but we were stopped by a long thunderstorm, so we decided to just stay in camp, get going the next day, this time determined we would definitely make some serious miles up toward California. And we were riding along the freeway. Looking off to our right, we see some incredible looking switchbacks. So of course we took the detour, and it ended up being an awesome ride. The rocks and the view and the road were phenomenal. That road is called Horseshoe Meadows Road, and there's a campground at the top. On the way down, we even stopped on some dirt roads for a little fully loaded dirt practice, and neither of us fell over, but we were hoping it would go to some cool rock formations, and it just ended at a cattle pasture. Finally, we made up the rest of the miles and made it back to San Diego as the sun was setting. Now I had about a month of planning before Andrea and I would take off for Mexico, Central America, and South America, starting on October 9th.